Welcome back to Cloud 2K, and we have another trade. This broke last night around 9:30ish, 8:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was gonna make a video on it last night, but my one friend is shipping out today, joined the military. Shout out to him. So I didn't really want to waste my last couple hours playing some video games and hanging out with him to make a video. You know what I mean? I figured I could just wait till the next day, make the video. So it's a little bit delayed. It's not like the Luka video, which I tried to get up as quick as I could, but YouTube was having a hard time uploading because I think 1.5 million people were trying to put their videos up. So, go watch my Luka video. I'm still in complete and total shock that Luka Doncic was traded, but it doesn't matter. We have another breaking trade. Persham Sharania. We get the first tweet. Breaking news, Sacramento is finalizing a trade to send De'Aaron Fox to the San Antonio Spurs in a multi-team trade that moves Chicago Bulls Zach LaVine to the Kings. We're all like, whoa. I'm in the party with my friends. We're like, holy shit, this is back-to-back nights. Technically, on the East Coast, it was the same day because it happened 12:30 in the morning with the Luka trade. So, technically, again, for us East Coast people, the same day both of these trades happen. We're like, holy shit. We wait. Bro, it's 5-10 minutes before we get the quote to you from Shams. We're all just trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Twitter is going ballistic again because we can't believe it's happening again. Shams finally puts out the quote tweet, the full trade. The Spurs get De'Aaron Fox, Jordan McLaughlin. The Kings end up with Zach LaVine, City Cisco, 3 first-round picks, a 2025 Charlotte pick, which we're going to talk about here in a second, a 2027 Spurs pick, and a 2031 Timberwolves pick. 3 second-round picks, 2025 Chicago, 2028 Denver, and 2028 their own pick back. And then the Bulls get Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, and they get their own 2025 pick back. Basically, the Bulls had their pick, but it was top 10 protected. I'm sorry, the Spurs had the Bulls pick, but it was top 10 protected. So if the Bulls are one of the bottom 10 teams in the league, or they end up with a top 10 pick, they would get to keep the pick. But the Bulls looked like they're going to be a play-in team because the teams below them in the Eastern Conference were just bad. So it looked like there's a real possibility that the Bulls would lose their pick this year. This pretty much guarantees that they have their pick. So I guess that's cool. Obviously, we're going to start with the big one. De'Aaron Fox is a Spur. And again, this isn't a huge surprise because last week when this whole thing came out, not that De'Aaron Fox didn't request a trade, but basically Rich Paul came and said that, it wouldn't be a bad idea if you guys started listening for trade offers for De'Aaron Fox because when we're a free agent in 2026, we want to play for the San Antonio Spurs. And it came out, the report came out last week. I said that I thought the Houston Rockets were going to be the team to trade for him, but that was before we knew that the Spurs were the favorites. Came out the Spurs were the favorites. And now, for the past couple of days, it's been, what do they trade for De'Aaron Fox? A lot of it's was going to have to include Stefan Castle, Devin Vassell, or Jeremy Sohan. One of the three. And the fact that the Spurs get De'Aaron Fox without giving up any of those three is a complete fleece, in my opinion. I think the San Antonio Spurs absolutely hit a home run. Hit an absolute home run. They get De'Aaron Fox for basically Zach Collins, Trey Jones, and City Cisco, and giving back the Bulls their pick and stuff like that. You didn't give up any of your key players. You now realistically can run a lineup of, this is where it gets tough. Are Chris Paul and De'Aaron Fox going to start together? I'm sure they could. So that leaves, Chris Paul, De'Aaron Fox in the backcourt, Devin Vassell at the 3, Sohan at the 4, obviously Wemby at the 5, and then that puts Keldon Johnson still on the bench. They got a lot going on there. They got a lot going on. Stefan Castle on the bench. Yeah, the Spurs are looking so good. And I know, again, the talk was, if you're the Spurs, why give up assets if you can just wait 1.5 years and get him in free agency? Especially because he said he wants to play for you guys. In a similar situation to the Carmelo thing years and years ago when he went to go to New York, he said he wanted to play for the New York Knicks. They traded for him when he was on last year's contract, except about 1.5 years instead of 6 months. So kind of a similar situation, but they probably could have just waited. But they said no. Especially if they weren't really giving up anything like this. They get off the Zach Collins contract, which he's not been great. So I think they're not that upset with that. Trey Jones obviously wasn't gonna be much with the addition of Stefan Castle and Chris Paul for this season and hopefully next season for them. So go out, get your star point guard to pair with Vic, because De'Aaron Fox probably 27, 28 at the oldest. He's still getting into his prime at this point in time. They absolutely knocked it out of the park, and I've been a firm believer of not rushing the Wemby timeline. This team has still got a lot of young pieces. And the idea were that, a lot of people were saying, use these young pieces to trade for a star because Wemby is ready now to compete. And I was like, okay, Wemby is kind of getting to the run where he might be ready to compete, but the rest of this team isn't. So why rush the process if you get another year or two of getting another young talent in the draft, letting your guys develop, and then hitting the home run pick? But you know what? They said, no, De'Aaron Fox is available. Let's make a trade. And honestly, I can't be mad at it. I really, really can't be mad at it. 10 out of 10, A+ for the Spurs. I think they absolutely killed this trade. Next, the Sacramento Kings, they get Zach LaVine. I just got alert that the MLB fired one of their umpires, so I just had to look at that for a second. The Kings get Zach LaVine, City Cisco, 3 first-round picks, the 2025 Charlotte pick, 2027 Spurs, then 2031 Minnesota, their 3 second-round picks. The Kings, okay, I want to start with this one. The 2025 Charlotte pick. You're like, well, the Hornets are bad. That's going to be probably a top 5 pick. No, it is a lottery-protected pick. And if it doesn't convey this year, it turns into 2 second-round picks. I'm sorry, the Hornets are going to be in the lottery. They're going to have a top pick. They're not getting that pick. The Kings are not getting the Charlotte pick. It just makes it look a lot better than it actually is. So you can actually add that to, it's going to be pretty much 5 second-rounders if you kind of do that math. So they get 2 second-rounders, a 2027 San Antonio Spurs, which you assume Wemby and De'Aaron Fox are still going to be there. You assume they're at least a playoff team. So you're looking at a late teens, early 20s at the best for that pick. 2031 Minnesota is the pick that it's like, okay, you might have got something there because we obviously, this whole thing going on with Julius Randle probably going to be gone. Rudy Gobert won't be on the team by then. Anthony Edwards, there's a real possibility Anthony Edwards is still on the team, but you have no idea what the Minnesota Timberwolves is going to look like in 6 years. So that's a pick that it's like, okay, maybe there is some value down there. Zach LaVine gets re-paired up with DeMar DeRozan. And, you know, they went on a stretch together, DeMar DeRozan's first year on the Bulls, but obviously that was kind of a fake run. They had Lonzo Ball playing great as well. Vucevic playing great as well. But we all knew that wasn't like a real thing. Other than that, they didn't look great together, but a lot of it was because Zach LaVine was dealing with his injuries and not playing as well. So Zach LaVine's playing a lot better this season, so maybe a fully healthy Zach LaVine looks a lot better next to DeMar DeRozan than the last time they played together. But I just don't really understand. I don't really understand how this happened. I don't really understand how Zach LaVine ends up in Sacramento. Obviously, the Bulls have their say on who they want to trade, but it seemed like Zach LaVine was actually happy and was willing to stay in Chicago. And again, if you're trying to go into a rebuild, you got to trade. You let DeMar DeRozan go. You're trading Zach LaVine. You're probably going to trade Vucevic. Like, you got to trade these players to try to, like, bottom out and get your draft pick. But, like, if you're the Kings, why do I want Zach LaVine? I don't understand. You have, like, I don't. Devin Carter's going to get a lot more run. You have Zach LaVine, you have Keon Ellis, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, Sabonis, Malik Monk's there. Like, is Malik Monk going to take the point guard role? Maybe it's going to be Malik Monk, LaVine, DeRozan, Keegan Murray, Sabonis is your starting 5. Which, there's not a lot of defense there, man. There's not a lot of defense, which they already didn't have much of anyway. I don't like it, man. I do not like Zach LaVine on this Kings team, and it's a bummer because I think Zach LaVine could have really, really helped a team like the Warriors or the Magic at this trade deadline, and I don't know. It's a very, very shitty situation to put Zach LaVine in, and I do feel bad for him. I think he kind of got thrown into this trade. I've seen a lot of Bulls fans on the timeline, including Kenny, be super upset at the idea of losing Zach LaVine, especially seeing him go to a Kings team where it's like, it just doesn't, I don't think anybody really understands. Now, if somebody has some insider info or, like, feels like they have an understanding why the Kings would want Zach LaVine, please put that in the comments below, because I would like to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just say it's a shit. If there's a good reason, I'd like to hear it. You know what I mean? I'm open to hearing that. Again, the first round picks, it's really going to be 2, not 3. You had 3 shots at the second round pick, 2025 Chicago. It could be in the late 30s. Okay, cool. 2028 Denver, you have no idea what the Denver team looks like, but I'm assuming 2028 they still have Jokic, so probably still going to be a later second round pick, and then your own back in 2028, so if you're good or not, you know, you kind of have the idea. The Bulls, Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, and their own 2025 pick back. Getting their pick back's basically the only good thing at this point in time. Zach Collins hasn't been very good, and he's making like, what, $17-18 million. I don't think they want to play him, especially they still have Vucevic on the team. They have Jalen Smith running back up 5 minutes as well. I just don't think they want to play Zach Collins. Trey Jones hasn't really looked great. They already have a ton of guards. They just traded Zach LaVine, okay, but you still have Ayo Dosunmu, Kobe White, Josh Giddey's still on the team. They're still trying to figure out their guard. Javon Carter's on the team. Like, they have a lot of guards playing, and I just don't know who does Trey Jones take minutes from? Is it gonna just be Javon Carter because he's the older guy of the group? I don't know. Is Trey Jones even a long-term option? I don't know. This is the last year of his contract. Maybe they just, again, let him walk. Kevin Huerter, I think has still one more year on his contract if I'm right about that one, but has not been good this year. Where does he find his minutes on this team as well? Because they're still trying to develop their wings in Patrick Williams, in Matas Buzelis, in Julian Phillips. They still have guys that they're trying to develop. It just, I just don't really understand what the Bulls did here. I feel like the Bulls were definitely the losers of this trade, because at least the Kings get a good player and potential picks down the line. The Bulls, again, they get to make sure they have their rights to their own pick this year. Like, no matter what, they make their pick this year, which is a good thing, you know what I mean? But that's pretty much all you got out of trading Zach LaVine, and I just think it's a bad trade, and it seems like this front office is not any better than the last one, because they do 2 deals within about 7 months, 8-ish months, since last summer. It's trading Alex Caruso straight up for Josh Giddey when you trade with Oklahoma City Thunder that have so many first-round picks. And then you turn around and you trade Zach LaVine for the rights of your own first-round pick this year, and a couple guys that are salary fillers that you probably don't want on your team long-term. I don't know if they know what they're doing. Honestly, God, I don't know if they know what they're doing. And as a Bulls fan, I couldn't understand, man. I'm not a Bulls fan, and I'm kind of glad I'm not with the way shit's going down over here. There's been, like, crazy reports all day that have been coming out before the deadline that this team might want this team. This team might want this player. It's been reported that potentially the Warriors could want Paul George. Okay, if I'm the 76ers, I might just go, take him. It's not looking good for us right now. Maybe you think it's a little bit too early because he's still got 3 more years on his contract, and you're hoping Tyrese Maxey's Tyrese Maxey's been phenomenal recently, but then you're hoping Joel Embiid's back healthy next season, that you want to try to give that big 3 a chance. Maybe you don't want to do that, but it's also a real opportunity for Daryl Morey to say, wash my hands of it, move on. Apparently now the Suns are taking calls for Kevin Durant, because also a report came out that Bradley Beal would prefer not to be traded. So maybe that whole Jimmy Butler situation is dead, because Jimmy Butler also just told the Golden State Warriors he would not sign an extension there, so that their talks died. It just seems like there's a lot of, I might with this guy, I might with this guy, I'm not going there. It's getting to be a lot of talk right now, and it makes me think Jimmy Butler's not getting traded. Because, I mean, flat out, he turned down the Grizzlies, he turned down the Warriors. He came out and said he would rather go to any other 29 team besides Miami, and then keeps saying no to these teams, and he keeps doing this stupid stuff where he dyed his hair orange, he's wearing the orange cleats. He wants to go to the Phoenix Suns. That is literally, like, there's no hiding that he wants to go to the Phoenix Suns. But if Bradley Beal doesn't want to get traded, there's no way he goes to the Phoenix Suns. I don't know where else he could even possibly go at this point in time, because it seemed like he doesn't want to go anywhere. So I think there's a real possibility they sit there, they hold their hands in Miami, and he just doesn't play the rest of the season, which would be insane. Or like I don't know, man. It's just I've talked about it so much recently, but like it's just like I don't even know, an ego off is really the best way I have to say it, man. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And then, you know, more stuff keeps coming up about this Luka stuff in Dallas, and I made a whole video about that yesterday as you guys are watching this, so go check that out. Because it just gave more of an in-depth breakdown with some of the news that came out. This has been a nuts past 2 days. There was real talk that this trade deadline could suck, honestly, because the Jimmy Butler stuff was pretty much the only news that was coming out, and it just kept stallmating so many. This turned into one of the craziest trade deadlines of all time, and there's still a small chance, a guy like Brandon Ingram could be traded too. So, listen, I think we cannot take this for granted, because there's a real world we'll never see another trade deadline like this ever again. Apparently, it seems like PJ Tucker is going to get balled out or something like that, so the Phoenix Suns are the favorites to get PJ Tucker, which they can just take any playable bodies at this point in time, because they desperately need it, man. Also, reports per Shams Charania that the Warriors have reportedly checked in with every All-Star player in the league. I mean, just a month ago, did not all, like, Steph Curry, Draymond, Steve Kerr, and all of them just come out and say, we're not willing to mortgage our future, but now they're trying to get every All-Star, or at least they're talking to every All-Star to see who wants to come to the team. I don't I don't know. I almost just broke a trade here, but it's a fan account. No, the Shams Charania fan account almost just got me. Holy, that would have been nuts. But also, in the NFL, Myles Garrett just requested a trade from the Browns. So I know a basketball channel, but that's just also something crazy that just happened. I don't know. Crazy past couple days in trading, man. And I'm really excited. The trade deadline is Thursday. So I'm assuming we're going to get one or two more trades before this is over. Apparently the Lakers are looking into like a Robert Williams, a Nick Claxton, now even potentially a Mitchell Robinson. That's what they need. The Lakers desperately need a rim protecting center. So we'll see, man. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.